Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Kadesh, Jehovah Tesapa, El Shaddai, Jehovah Ra'ah, Jehovah Olem El. Why is he called all those names? Because he is. He is all that stuff. And what I wanted to look at, there's something that Brother Linton and I talked about last week. There was a message I heard Jerry Savelle speak years ago. And he said that he had gotten it from Oral Roberts, had preached it. And it was called The Fourth Man. Any of you heard that one? He starts out talking about the three Hebrew children, end up being the fourth man in there. Who is this fourth man? Well, he goes through all 66 books. In the book of Genesis, he's the seed of a woman. In Exodus, he's the Passover lamb. I mean, he just all through every one of them. Jesus is all through the Old Testament. Yeah. And what I want to look at today is the names that God goes under, and to show in the New Testament that the name was given to Jesus every time. Isaiah 9:6, very familiar scripture. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Who's it speaking of? Jesus. Jesus has to be called somewhere in here the Mighty God.
That's it.
And the Everlasting Father. Or that was false. And you might as well just scratch it out, tear out that page or whatever if it's false. If not, then that's who he is. And Genesis 1 verse 1 says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. The very first verse God is mentioned. In the Hebrew, that is the word Elohim. As I looked through the concordance and was looking at some of the different people, how they were going through their studies, because they know Hebrew, I don't. They said that the word El is God. If you look, you have a cherub. If there's two of them, it's cherubim. El is one. Elohim is plural. The first verse of the Bible already tells us there's more than one. There's a Trinity right there. In the beginning, Elohim, plural, created the heaven and the earth. Later, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image, so he made man in his image. Well, that's plural. That's, yeah. Why? I am. If he wants to do it that way, I can't complain. It says it is a masculine noun, and it's used in the plural. So God is not a she, no matter what you hear on some of these goofy television programs. Let us make man in our image. And the singular of Elohim is El, but a little bit, there's also a word in between El and Elohim, and it's Elowah, Elowahh. And when it talks about in Isaiah 6, and he is the mighty God, it uses the word Gibor El, powerful or mighty God. It's Jesus. It already told us that's going to be the son that's going to be born. Abraham called upon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. In Genesis 21:33, it's Jehovah Olam El. Everlasting. Always was, always will be. And Jesus said, I'm the first, I'm the last. I'm the beginning, I'm the end. So the New Testament agrees that Jehovah is Jesus. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then it tells us that Jesus is the Word. Therefore, Jesus is God. Genesis 2 verse 4 is the first time Lord God is written together. And in this, Lord is capital letters. What is interesting with this is in the Hebrew, it is the letters YHVH. As you get into a lot of the Jewish stuff, just like there's different groups that say that they're Christian, they get into the occult and everything else. There is a group that gets into the Hebrew, and it's called Kabbalah. They'll get into basically witchcraft ideas. They will use that, they call it the Gematron. There's 4 letters. And if we look at it in the English, you have the Y, it would have a Y sound like yes. And the H is a sound. Okay? The V can be a V sound and it could be a W sound. It goes both ways, like our English does things like that. And then it has the letter H again. What some of them have done is they will put a vowel in between those 4. And if you use it as a J sound instead of the Y as a yes type of sound, then you put an E after it and it would be the Jehovah. But if they use it as a Y sound and the V as a W sound, they'll pronounce it as Yahweh. So if you hear somebody talk about Yahweh, it's just another way of saying Jehovah. Okay, so I've heard a lot of people, what is this Yahweh? The same thing. Just somebody pronouncing it either. Just different ones want to pronounce it differently. It means the same thing. So when it's capital letters, L-O-R-D, it is Jehovah or Yahweh, however you want to look at it. It is used, Jehovah, 6,519 times in the Old Testament. And I didn't count them. The program blueletterbible.org, I love to look at. And you scroll down about that far and it tells you how many. So I didn't have to do all of it. The Israeli think that that is such a special word, they'll write it as G-D or G-. They won't say or write the name of God. It's too holy. And that's why they say it's just the 4 letters. They don't want a whole word put down there. So we look at it a little bit different. But in Leviticus 20, verse 7, God says, I am the Lord your God. And it's worded, I am Jehovah Elohim. And he's telling Moses, this is who I am. Psalm 13:3, consider and hear me, O Lord my God. And David is saying the same thing. Now, if somebody would say Jesus is my Lord and God, and it was false, then that would be blasphemy. If I would name off anybody else and say, oh, my Lord, my God, we're in trouble. If somebody says that to anyone, they need to be corrected. But Thomas answered and said, my Lord and my God. And he wasn't corrected for it. So it must have been true. So Jesus is Jehovah Elohim. Or that would be false. Genesis 17:1, God